Off with some bot lane bans. No Yuumi decided by Resurgence, and no Varus over on the side of Berjaya.
It's incredibly hard to predict what Resurgence is going to pick because, again, first game that we had for them, we've got, that Shyvana at top side for Shinsekai and then Nocturne for Epic. Earlier, though, it was a little bit more tame with only Shinsekai playing something a little bit more different on that Scion. That is RSG saying, okay, we have a lot of respect towards K2 Zezreal. We ain't seeing that in this game.
Yeah, that is now, 3 marksmen being banned out, which is a rather unfortunate look across over on the side of, Berjaya. They're unfortunately having to look at now, okay, we lost the Ezreal, we lost the Varus. Do we give over the Kalista and then fall back onto something like a Misfortune, which, Misfortune has kind of felt a bit out of meta now for the last couple of patches, at least with what we've seen in competitive?
Yeah, the fact that they removed Yuumi too, which is a very good additional safety for that Misfortune to sort of make up for the loss of nerf on the W. So at this point, what does K2 decide to play? Because, Misfortune isn't exactly that carry-centric champion that K2 would like to have. And looking at his previous picks, it is, Varus would be the next one, which is out of the question. There is that pocket pick Caitlyn that K2 picked in the round robin, I believe.
Well, there we go. Back into the draft we go. The final ban for Berjaya was getting rid of the Karma, so not going to see that in the mid lane for Raven. And instead, it's going to be the Syndra getting locked in. And then Berjaya immediately Enzo picking up the Trundle and maybe now looking at a LeBlanc for Mawon.
What's interesting about, the contrast between spring and summer is that, Trundle didn't have the best of starts when it came to the PCS. It had a very sad win rate, but now it has contributed to a lot of wins when it came to summer. And it's the opposite too, because Lee Sin was insanely popular in spring, but now it seems to me it hasn't been working out, as it has been picked thrice and still not winning any.
Yeah, it kind of streams right now on the side of Resurgence. Gotta go for the early game. Have to find something to work well, and they always put Epic on something like a Lee Sin. Now the fact that the Trundle keeps getting taken away from them, I wonder, is there anything more to Epic's pool? Because that's really all we saw from him back in spring when he was playing with Resurgence. He was always on Trundle duty, or he brought out the Lee Sin from time to time. Now, it's also going to be Kazuo on the Thresh as that gets locked in the final rotation of the first round of Resurgence's draft. And now, do you just do a Tom Kench and now try and keep this 80 carry, whatever you're running in the bot lane, safe? Because now that is open again to bans.
This is very different. It's been a while since we've seen Tom Kench. Normally, they would want to pair that either with a Varus, maybe even a Senna. Senna is open. Not sure if K2 wants to fall back to that, because again, we're looking towards some of the playmaking 80 carry champions, which the first thing that comes into my mind, rather second, would be Kai'Sa, which had a very sad 9-loss streak, 9-loss in the spring split. So I don't know if that would be the go-to after so many 80 carries are getting banned right now.
This is kind of screaming, all right, Tom Kench Senna bot lane. I wonder, does Resurgence just try and ban out the Senna if another 80 carry ban comes out here? Because now what? We've lost 5 marksmen. We're starting to really go down the table. Oh my, the Shyvana actually drew a ban against Resurgence. That's actually kind of fun.
Lots of respect, and yeah, lots of respect, I suppose, towards Shinsekai, as, we've already seen what the jungle is going to be, since that is the Lee Sin. Swapper Rooney is going to happen. Again, you mentioned what happens. It's going to be the Wukong, so at least there is still a couple of open, like the Senna that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Senna, Kai'Sa is kind of the two that comes to mind immediately, or do we get, a little bit even more niche? Do we see, like, Caitlyn come out, possibly, or even a Lucian? We've gotten rid of a lot of those long-range ones that you could actually do well. Oh, hell, do we even see a Vayne, considering you have something like a Jinx also available? That was one of K2's kind of fallback niche pickups back in spring.
Yeah, I suppose Jinx will be the next answer, as for this particular champion, when it comes to, like, the next best thing, Caitlyn didn't work out so well, Lucian didn't work out so well, so Jinx is definitely that fallback you can rely on when it comes to the late game, which you know, maybe the Dragons are confident enough that Resurgence will allow them to reach that point.
And we've gone so far down the list, it is going to be the Kaisa. Does Resurgence find the first Kaisa pickup win of spring after seeing it be practically cursed when it came to the PCS as far as success went? Now for their final pickup, pretty much meaning to show what does Shinsekai wish to play up in the top lane. Unfortunately for him, he is open to a counter pick as Berjaya have held on to that the entire time. And oh, baby, going with the carry. It's going to be the Jace getting locked in.
I wonder what the response is for the Dragons, because it is going to be a little bit scary. You know, you got that Enzo on that Trundle later on, so for sure Epic is going to try to match that. And it will depend what they're going to get here, as Ozzy has been falling towards, you know, the usuals, such as the Renekton, maybe the occasional Mordekaiser that got him. And you know what? If they do lock this in, they're going to be saying, okay, we can survive this, we can do this.
Pretty much screaming, all right, let K2 win us in the late game with this Jinx, pretty much seems to be the play. And for Resurgence, this composition screams, we have to win the first 20 minutes of this map. We might be in a bit of trouble. And yeah, I'm interested to see whether or not they're actually going to be able to pull that off. Shinsekai's going to be on the Jace, but he's going up against an Ornn, so yeah, you know, Ornn is just Ornn. He's just there to soak up as much as he can, and even then, if you disrespect the Ornn, he can easily turn around and go for a 1v1.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta watch out for any of those combos that knock up in for the trades, and possibly that level 1 will be a little bit tough for the Ornn. So trying to poke them out, trying to poke Ozzy out first to not allow any sort of setup, especially when Enzo visits the lane.
And it allows here for Shinsekai. He's going to be on a carry once again. Last time we saw him, he was over on the Shyvana. Didn't really pan out, and in a previous game earlier, wasn't able to do a whole lot either. This time, though, on a Jace in a ranged versus melee matchup. We'll see whether or not Resurgence can find their first victory of summer, their last opportunity here in Week 1 as we load on into the Rift. I think a little bit early to be this dark on the Rift, but you know, I guess time works differently over on Summoner's Rift. We'll see here as, oh, already, Kusuo, man, 2 tongue lashes coming out from Dululu. I was going to say, you know, Kusuo, your first game here, I kind of harped on you for getting caught out. Level 1, I was going to get really sad, but he gets himself back to safety without having to burn any Summoners. Again, we get to see the Hailblades Kaisa. Kaisa right now, I just feel is just, she doesn't feel great.
The thing is, it's actually pretty popular at some of the regions. Like we saw it at VCS work out in their own region. It's just very unfortunate that in the PCS it doesn't work out too well. But I'm excited to finally see this Kaisa work. Perhaps it is, you know, very aggressive. You have that backline access just in case you cannot reach K2, and you do have a lot of answers as well in the form of Shinsekai if ever they do get a very nice flank, or for Epic with a nice kick, and for Raven too on the Syndra. So in terms of answers to eliminate that very scary threat with this Jinx, RSG has it on the draft.
I'll see, jungles are actually going to be swapping sides here. So does Epic want to try and make a play? I think he would like to, especially the fact if they can try and find an early kill on this Ornn, try and get Shinsekai rolling and make it so that lane is very difficult for Ozzy to deal with. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Is he going buff to buff and then likely onto the Gromp? We'll see if there's going to be a level 3 action on toward the top side of the map. Bot lane, Kusuo already going for that early flay and some decent early damage coming out from the bot lane of Resurgence.
Yeah, trying to see whether or not they can time the level 2 well, maybe zone them a little bit out of those minions. But unfortunately, you know, it's a nice attempt coming from RSG, as Epic will make his way, maybe make his first visit, probably try to get those Raptors before Endo gets to his. We see pings a little bit here, but yeah, it's all about getting Shinsekai ahead in this Jace, or else then it might be, you know, not get taken advantage of. It will be a waste if they do not.
Yeah, you want to see that Jace, you know, get up ahead in his lane. You want to try and unlock him away from having to deal with just this wave clear that the Orin is going to be throwing out non-stop. Not usually. Well, we have seen the last two Jaces. They didn't really win lane, but they had the rest of a team to carry them when it came into what we've seen so far in the weekend of our first little batch of action when it comes to Summer Epic. Maybe going to peek around the corner. Does see that Ozzy is moving forward onto him. They maybe looked for a dive here, but Ozzy already building up an item, saying, all right, I'm going to try and get a little bit more health before this possible dive comes through, and doesn't even look like Epic really wants to go for it as Enzo gets scuttle control on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, it was the choice earlier for Nova. They would decide to just try to match and respond to any sort of the dives coming from RSG, but for Berjaya, we're going to do the opposite. Earlier, we're going to just focus on bot side since RSG would like to get that Epic Shinsekai going at top.
Well, you see, Enzo also going for a bit of an invade as we get a little bit of a disconnect on our end, so we'll hopefully get ourselves back in the game here quite shortly. Not too sure exactly what has happened over there as just getting word now. Hey, there we go. We have ourselves our feed back. I was getting worried. I was like, what happened to the feed? Oh boy.
Oh well.
Anyway, remote production.
It happens.
We've been actually pretty lucky so far on our remote production. I think
Don't say lucky.
other than, you know, sometimes, you know, Riku disconnects for half a second. It does happen.
Yes, that is me.
It's kind of funny. My screen over here, she's like all nice and big, and then all of a sudden she'll like be making a point, and then she just kind of stands still for half a second. I'm like, oh no.
And now you know what's up.
Oh
yes.
no. Riku's gone. Disconnected. Man, I hate when there's AFKs in my broadcast, all right? Just saying. Early here in mid lane, though, Raven, able to get a nice, decent little trade there onto Malon, is running the Comet, so he's getting a little bit of extra damage there on the initial poke, whereas Malon looking for that full combo running the Electrocute and jumps in immediately. Epic comes on nearby, though, as won't be able to make a play overall, and it looks like we might have a pause from what I'm being told. Maybe a mic issue, but nonetheless, they're still playing, so we'll keep on going.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there, as lots of minion waves gonna be in the line of sight of Epic's Q, so there's not a lot of follow-up to work with. But yeah, it is a deadly combo with either Lee Sin and the Syndra.
Oh,
here comes the squad, though, going up top.
This is the level 6 Orin. Call the Forge God's going to be used immediately, and that's just to clear out the wave. He also gets the knock-up onto Epic, and unfortunately for Resurgence, we did mention they were always looking for these early plays, trying to dive up and toward the top lane, but unfortunately, Ozzy was already level 6. Once he hit level 6 on the Orin, he's kind of difficult to kill right away.
Exactly, good choice on the target too, on who got the aggro and just try to scare off Epic. Therefore, less healthy members, less people having to be brave enough to get that tower aggro. And for now, though, Berjaya Dragons is just doing this really, really well. Okay, you keep focusing up top side. We're going to get more objectives at bot. Maybe even climb their way towards your jungle, get more camps for yourself. And, you know, it is all about having to get consolation prizes for RSG and how they can balance it out.
A little bit of pressure coming out here as K2 and them were able to get themselves also a turret plate. And you're starting to also lose a little bit of the opportunity that you would have had trying to at least punish this Jinx early, but now that she's been kind of gone untouched for your first 7 minutes, there has been a whole lot of play coming out from the bot side of Resurgence, and Epic, other than that one appearance into top lane and just safeguarding over to Raven to prevent him from being engaged upon him now on, we're kind of seeing what this Lee Sin was like in the very first game of the day, where it just wasn't all that impactful.
Yeah, and hopefully, you know, Resurgence or Epic in general will just level it up in terms of aggression, I suppose. But the more that he ganks and it is quite unsuccessful, the more Enzo is able to exchange off of the map with more camps for himself and even more objectives off of that. And I think it's very smart that the Dragons opted for this Orin. It's just really hard to gank, and now we see a little bit of lane swap already, just prepped for that Rift Herald that is about to spawn.
We'll see. Shinsekai has to be a little bit careful himself as they've decided to go for that lane swap, and that gives full pressure now toward Berjaya if they want to go for the Rift Herald. With that pressure coming in onto Shinsekai. Epic is nearby, so if they do go for a dive, it could get turned upon, as he does have level 6, but get the priority in top. You see Epic still has Kasuo nearby, and they're the ones actually that say, you know what, we'll just start the Rift Herald before you even come over.
It's difficult. They have to rely on Ozzy's Ornhorn as Mawan is going to take a little bit of flank as their approach.
Shinsekai brings in the Hammer Slam, able to get the slows. That's a bunch of flashes used. Delulu, though, ends up eating back Enzo as Raven actually went for the ultimate onto the Trundle, but ends up soaking most of the damage there onto the Kench. And now, Berjaya able to find themselves back to safety without losing a single member. Tahm Kench is going to go ahead and use the passage to come back, and it looks like we're not done yet around this Rift Herald.
Very smart by the Dragons. They've baited out the flash, the unleashed power coming from Raven, and there's just so much that RSG has consumed. That's the reason why Berjaya held on to that Ornhorn, set up that wave in mid, and then moved towards Herald.
And you see Mawan's actually been able to get the flank, but same on the side of Shinsekai as he wants to try and find a path in. 1,300 health onto the Rift Herald. It's going to be tagged there by Epic. Call the Forge God.
Nice
ends up not being used. It is going to be First Blood, though, going in favor of Berjaya. Mexi able to claim the Rift Herald die, but he'll get taken down in the end as Berjaya are able to find 2.
I think that was beautiful. That was a beautiful timing on, I believe that was the Scatter the Weak that stunned Ozzy, but unfortunately, it is still not enough for them to win the fight, despite that failed Ornhorn return to knock up RSG. And in the meantime, again, it is due to the fact that a lot of the ults have been used. A lot of the flashes have been used already from the side of RSG in that initial fight. That's the reason why they did not have enough tools to try and make a play and possibly even eliminate K2 off of that.
And we kind of screamed like this top half of the map for Resurgence needs to win as we just go on back into our nice little blue on Void. Oh, there we go. We're back into the replay. This is the thing. Resurgence's top side of the map needed to get ahead. They needed to find some kills. You wanted to try and shut down Ozzy a little bit further. You want to get Shinsekai up and rolling, but it just hasn't panned out so far.
Yeah, because it is very hard to dive this Ozzy. And again, that Scatter the Weak was beautiful, but at the same time, unfortunately, Epic was, again, had not a lot of defense options left. He has used his flash already, and just as you mentioned, Shinsekai is not able to try and burst someone down because of the fact that he did not get ahead in the first few minutes of the game.
So now 0-2 with Berjaya on the board. They do have this Rift Herald, though, on Mexi, so I'm assuming that Resurgence are going to say, all right, well, let's just try and get this gold back onto the Kaisa at least, and then try and get her to scale back up. As Shinsekai also making his way over toward the bot side of the map, looking for a roam. No one's actually in top lane, by the way, and they don't have a teleport to answer Ozzy. So this is Resurgence putting down a lot of pressure. Raven completely fans on the Scatter of the Weak. And this is a bit of a concern here. Resurgence trying to make these misplays starting at that 10-minute mark.
Yeah, unfortunately, when they want to rely on that heavy engage, at least they do have Kasuo. They do also have Raven as well before anything else just falls through on the side of RSG. And if that misses, then you got to reset, wait for the cooldowns a little bit. But Shinsekai, though, and Ozzy will have their teleports back up. Mountain Drake is about to spawn in a few seconds. And I feel like, you know, it's going to be party time at Dragon with their teleports up.
See if the party's going to be taking place. Ozzy also has his teleport available. So does Mawan. So they continue to just apply pressure and try and get priority, possibly in mid lane or even top lane if they wished. As Shinsekai wants to roam all the way down the river, doesn't even want to burn the teleport for this fight. So this is Resurgence investing a lot of resources. They do have Rift Herald, and that looks like it's going to be the play to pop it down in mid lane, but they're just going to let it go, and with that, sure, it gets some pressure into the mid lane, but I don't think that's going to get the tower.
Shinsekai? Yeah, it's going to get a little bit of plate gold funneled in towards this Jace, to at least help make up for the not being able to get early kills from Epic's early ganks. In the meantime, though,
Gonna be used immediately, gets the knock up onto Epic. The Jinx Rocket completely fans. Maoan almost getting soloed here by Shinsekai. Dululu, though, will find himself the kill, and now Mexi is the one looking low. The nice play keeps him safe. In comes the Unleashed Power. Dululu, though, able to save his Ornn, only for a split second more, though, as they'll find another kill. Resurgence are able to find the picks they are needing, and that will be 2 kills going back in favor of Resurgence, but they do lose out on the Dragon.
Nicely done. That was the Dragons being insanely funneled, tunnel visioned on the fact that Mexi was just so close to dying, and Raven spots how very aggressive the Dragons is and just held on to that Unleashed Power until the target would die in one combo.
And we'll take a look back here. It's a bit of a mess. Ozzy is able to get himself a really good flank, but unfortunately that Jinx Rocket ends up threading the needle between all the members of Berjaya. If that hit, maybe a completely different story with Mexi dying immediately.
Yeah, Mexi, Epic were just insanely low and could be in kill range. And look at that, Ozzy was just very, very close, wanting to get at least maybe a knock-up. But unfortunately, it was that Unleashed Power that eliminated him. Good save from Dululu, but pretty much from RSG, healthy and is able to collapse with no problem whatsoever.
So there you go. Resurgence finally get themselves on the board when it comes to kills, but are still losing out a little bit when it comes to the neutral objectives. Now that's 2 dragons taken by Berjaya, meaning they can start stacking toward this Ocean Soul, which is a little bit concerning. You don't really ever want to give over an Ocean Soul if you have the Jace on your team. Kind of nullifies whatever you kind of do when it comes to the later part of the game with having all that poke. Resurgence just go ahead, get scuttle control on the top side of the map, as we already see a lane swap to try and get priority back toward the Rift Herald pit.
That will be the case, as we see the RSG as a little bit of, at least, you know, a little bit of buffer, if you will, while we're expecting, you know, Shinsekai to go ahead, still having to stack up his tier at least. So once that comes online, that'll be really neat for the Jace. And for Mexi too, it'll be very scary once he Ultra Instinct into K2 at the Killer Instinct. Why did I say that? Killer Instinct at the backline, and it's going to be really scary. I think the problem would be if Tahm Kench will always be by K2 side, and therefore would deny any sort of very scary dives.
Ultra Instinct, that sounds like an anime protagonist's special ability. Behold my Ultra Instinct.
Instinct. Mexi going Ultra Instinct on
boy.
K2.
Epic going over the wall, looking to get a pick on Maoan. He is a LeBlanc, though, so he'll just distort himself back to safety. Shinsekai also nearby. They need to land that Scatter of the Week, and Raven unable to, looking to predict him to go toward the turret. Instead, went back into the jungle.
Another attempt, as Maoan is a little bit slippery, considering that Flash is still available too for this LeBlanc. Nice!
There you go. That's what you need to do. Scatter of the Week, able to find the stun into the Unleashed Power, but in comes the squad of Berjaya. They call in the Call of the Forge God. Not going to actually land. Shinsekai is forced to flash away, but a nice little pick there coming out from Resurgence.
I feel really sad for LeBlanc in general, because either you're against the Zoe going into a trouble bubble when you distortion, and in this case, it's a Scatter the Weak stun. And Raven read that really, really well, anticipating for Maoan to try to clear the waves using that distortion. And it is very tragic, as the timing is perfect with Rift Herald being taken right now by RSG.
So Rift Herald now going to be in the back pocket of RSG. Doesn't look like Enzo's going to try and contest this. Doesn't even come around the corner until it's a little bit too late. So Resurgence will find their second Rift Herald of the game. We'll see whether or not they're able to knock down at least the first tower. Meanwhile, mid, Enzo getting himself low, able to find himself back to safety. Shinsekai was also below half health, so didn't want to get too aggressive, and they got to worry about this Syndra, who's still waiting on the cooldown of the ultimate.
Yeah, I'm very scared. You know, Raven was pretty low. I think they were trying to make a interesting bait play against the Dragons, but once you're insanely low, you will be in kill range of a combo from Maoan on this LeBlanc. So better safe than sorry, as Raven will decide to back away and respect that. And in the meantime, though, we can see Raven moving towards top side to see whether or not he can do a little bit of push, as Mexi will be in the mid lane as seen earlier.
Yeah, I saw there K2 also letting loose a rocket. His rocket's game has been a little bit off target in the last couple of shots we've seen. when it comes to
The
some of
Ash
these
arrows
teams.
in this split, too.
Yeah, well, okay, Dawn was kind of one. I think Golden Feet had some better Ash arrows back in his
That's
first appearance.
true.
That was more or less on
That's
Dawn,
true.
which Dawn did recover later on in the game. He actually looked very solid. But yeah, the global ultimates, minus, I guess you say, like a
The
Twisted
True
Fate.
Shot Barrages.
A True Shot Barrage, yeah. They've been a little lackluster. Ezreal's been on port. Everything else hasn't. Mawon goes for the flash chain, able to land the first one. In comes Enzo as well, puts down the ultimate, and there you go. Easy does it the mid lane for Berjaya, now picking up their second kill.
Big question is, what does RSG decide to take off of the map? As, you know, that will be the mid lane first tier tower as an exchange for that kill on towards Shinsekai, which will, I feel like Berjaya Dragons still get a win, considering, again, they get another tower in exchange as well. And because of that control over it, but at least they can transition a little bit towards the dragon, unless Resurgence still keeps going with this push.
They're just going to hard shove with this Rift Herald. Rift Herald, though, I believe, will actually get the charge off. Raven gets himself back to safety after getting exhausted. Lantern will keep him safe, but Berjaya, Shinsekai looking for the flank, brought himself in with the teleport, and there goes Epic for the ride. Does he actually get the kill? Yes, Mixie goes in for the killer instinct, and he'll find the kill. Shutdown going on over to Raven. It's a double kill for Mexi. He'll fall, though, in the very end. Ozzy looking to try and pick up the lone members remaining of Berjaya. Mawon, though, on this LeBlanc could look to clean up. Unfortunately, he gets denied entrance into this back line, and Raven will find his second kill of the fight. Mawon, the final member of Berjaya. Resurgence got to be a little bit careful, but it will force LeBlanc back as they turn toward the dragon.
As a LeBlanc player, look at how low these health targets are.
Ooh,
Kusuo.
Those are tempting. In comes the Jinx Rocket going for a ride. Does it find its target? It will hit Epic. And he steals the Ocean Drake. Are you serious? K2 able to find his target. He wasn't looking for kills. He just gets the damn dragon, and now Berjaya or a dragon take away from Ocean Soul.
And it's interesting because these rockets are hoping to get kills, but instead steals a dragon. And that was, you know, Epic took a ride towards the members of Berjaya, but it's still pretty worse because the dragons had a very awkward position. They were practically surrounded by RSG. Despite so many low health targets, Mawon tried to get an execution, but was denied because of that stopwatch. And again, if Mawon was maybe got a little bit ahead in the early game, I feel like it would have been different and could have eliminated. Look at these health bars. These are like the fiesta for LeBlanc.
Yeah, you know, it's a great time. You can see Kusuo was trying to be, you know, sneaky there, and right off spawn throws in the rocket, and they shift their attention away, and Epic doesn't have smite, so he actually can't secure it, and the 500 health goes over to K2. Oh, that's tragic. Right when you feel like Resurgence has found an opening, Berjaya shut it down. They're not able to gain much else than a couple kills.
Yeah, MVP Rocket for K2. Another one dragon away for that soul on the dragons. And for RSG, still hasn't acquired their own. But so far, so good as they have been, you know, getting the important kills. Raven is 404 right now with Ludens, and also been trying to split push at the top side of the map.
So there you go. Resurgence will find at least the turret on toward the top side. Raven looking pretty good. Hello. That's 4 members of Berjaya in Resurgence's jungle. Delulu with the flash forward, able to eat him up, and K2 will find his kill.
This is a very familiar scenario where, you know, no matter what champion Raven is going to be, he is still going to be that split pusher at top side. And that is quite unfortunate. You know, Raven not on like any like spellbook, no teleport. So this is very difficult considering that it's when Berjaya Dragons decide to pull the trigger, it's hard to respond.
Oh boy. I get a little concerned now when I see Raven in a side lane trying to push a bunch, especially on a Syndra. Not the most efficient split pusher. And it gives me flashbacks to Mission Syndra back at the mid-season showdown, getting caught out by LeBlanc, so he's got to be a little bit careful. Resurgence, give them credit. They are still ahead when it comes to kills as well as gold, and we've reached the 20-minute mark. That's actually a great step in the right direction, considering the performances we saw during the last split of the PCS, where, you know what, this team was on average down almost 2,000 gold. before 20 minutes. It was a rough time to see, but they've been able to go toe-to-toe, and Berjaya, they finished 4th overall in the round robin. They are considered one of the top half teams that if Resurgence were able to take a win, I think that's a great step for morale as well as a good start for their summer split.
Yeah, exactly. Again, when you mention morale, I think it was that big issue when we look at Resurgence back at the spring split. And after getting that win against Liab, it started to seem really so much better for the team. So you're right, it is going to be definitely a good morale booster. But as the game progresses, this K2, this Jinx is just definitely going to be scary. Rapid fire cannon completed, so that additional range will definitely add to that safety on this carry.
Yeah, you're looking at 50% chance as well, so those rockets, especially during the team fight, if they're grouped up onto Resurgence, a lot of extra just AoE damage that can pile through, so positioning going to be key here for Resurgence. Mexi still, he's kind of finished off his Rage Blade at least, as well as stacking toward his Murmana. Let's see, lots of pings though coming out here from Berjaya. They do think Epic is nearby. Ozzy is just going to spot him out, but Epic going for a bit of a hike down in that bot lane. It'll get him away to safety, but 40 seconds on Ocean Drake. That should give enough time for Epic to come back, but that gives full control over to Berjaya if they want to put down ward coverage.
Yeah, that's the difficult part, hoping to get back. And actually, Dragons is also trying to port back as well. So it seems it's going to be a trade of control instead, wanting to get more items in the bag for the next fight, as RSG has managed to regain control over that dragon, possibly even deny that fourth, that Ocean Soul against the Dragons.
All right. So they're able to actually get control back, and like we mentioned, it's Ocean Soul for Berjaya if they are able to find it. Oh, Malon! He brings
dear.
Epic once again on an adventure. Teleport is available for the LeBlanc, but nice hook coming out from Kasuo. A double stun back onto K2. Gets interrupted. In comes the teleport once again. 3,000 health. Will Enzo be able to actually steal it away? And they are able to with the call. The Forge God. How the hell is that even possible? Ensuing fight afterwards, though. Berjaya are able to also find the kill, taking down Kasuo. And Resurgence cannot secure a damn dragon to save their lives.
My, oh my, that is definitely very tragic for RSG, and because of that, it is, Dragons get that Ocean Soul. RSG really committed a lot into this, and, it started out really well because they managed to, send Mawan home. He was late to the fight, and the call of the Forge God just...
Oh boy.
I'm speechless.
65 health on the damn Ocean Drake. And they got to make the call like, yeah, there's no smite from Epic. You're literally going into this expecting it to get stolen because Enzo can just walk up. So RSG, they're trying to force plays that I don't know necessarily if they have the tools to really go for. Even if you get that Ocean Soul, you even saw the ensuing fight. You saw they were still not able to pick up anything, and they end up losing more. And now that's Ocean Soul up against a Jace of Shinsekai, so even if he gets some good poke in the early portions of the fight, they can just back off and regen.
Exactly, and the Dragons have been playing this very, very cleverly, having not to commit fully to RSG's game, always finding picks first. If they do get hooked, they would step back a little bit, wait for their own cooldowns, wait for Ozzy to get that Orin Horn into the fight, and again, it's all up to Shinsekai having to get that backline access towards K2 and join with Mexi as well, because I feel like it will be a little bit dangerous if Mexi, or rather Raven, wants to be in range of that unleashed power towards K2. It might be too much. For the Dragons, though, they will be satisfied with that Ocean Soul. Thank you very much. And now RSG on defense.
All right, RSG, what can you do here? They still have a minor gold advantage. Raven has become the split push Syndra without teleport. Does he actually find the kill actually onto Malwan? Yes, he will likely unleash power into the Ignite. Able to take him down, and that's the solo kill you want to find. Now K2 in a bit of a choke point, able to find himself back to safety. Epic wants to look for the wraparound, and they get it onto Enzo. Delulu able to save his jungler, spits him on over the wall, but that's a double play back into another double kill for the Syndra. Raven gets a delayed triple, and Resurgence now with an opportunity to go for the Baron.
All right, Azzy and as well as K2, the only one left. They are going to concede this Baron. They're going to decide to just push the waves, push this tower as a consolation prize. That was well made. It all started because Maoan again lowered his guard, assuming that maybe Raven will not try to make a sneaky W stun. And again, that was just quite unfortunate.
Well, there we go. We go back here into this fight, and yeah, the fact that they don't have Mao on, you can see that was already a lot being burned, and a nice job by Kazuo to actually get on over the wall and prevent that from going any further.
Exactly, and that earned them that Baron. And now it seems to be a little bit more safe for RSG. A little shaky, as they have been losing some of these fights, have been losing the objectives from, you know, that Jinx ult from Ozzy as well. But now things are looking better. At this point of the game, you've got 3 items already towards Mexi, and that would mean Kazuo, unfortunately not able to land hook.
Not able to land the hook. So now we have the situation. It's 2 minutes until Elder Drake. If you're RSG, do you feel confident enough to go for this Elder Drake? Mexi, where are you going? Okay, gets himself back over to safety. As Kazuo has the Lantern. And with that, actually, RSG are able to get the push down in bot lane with the Baroned up minions. Berjaya a little bit split at the moment. Epic might be looking to try and sidestep away. Gets chained back, has the safeguard to get out of range of the LeBlanc. But the siege is going to continue here on the side of Resurgence as they crash into the tower.
The bad thing about it is that they don't have enough wave clear. Your only choice would be K2's rockets, but you will still be in scary range of any sort of initiation. Maybe the scatter the weak. There's the hook.
Go. They get themselves a hook, but unfortunately Kazuo's going to get taken down, and already that's one member taken away on the side of Resurgence. They were able to at least get an inhibitor. They'll have to back off here. Elder Drake in 1 minute.
Yeah, it's extremely close for Kazuo, but just as you mentioned, at least they managed to get an inhibitor before that reset. Unfortunately, they are not able to rotate to the other lanes and perhaps take advantage of the Baron a little bit more. But yeah, I believe it is definitely, you know, Resurgence wanting to find another engage because Ozzy does not have the Ornhorn just yet.
Comes with that crash onto the inhibitor that Kazuo at least he'll trade his life for the inhibitor. But now the question becomes, you have 30 seconds onto this Elder Drake and Berjaya. They would love to pick that up. Resurgence need to deny it because that gives an easy way back into this game. But you see Resurgence playing it calm, playing it collective, saying, all right, we'll go ahead, get ourselves the second tier tower in mid. We have about a 5,000 gold lead. Question is, can Maoan actually find a pick? Can he jump in onto Mexi or Raven without getting just obliterated by the Syndra?
Exactly, and look at the wave building on top side too. This is going to be very tricky for the Dragons if they decide to make a play, try to deny the Elder, as that will be, if they lose the fight, that's where RSG is going to try to push this time around.
I think they have it.
It's melting.
Can he steal it away? No, Berjaya, they realize they're too late to the party. And that is now Elder buff available for Resurgence for the next couple minutes.
Yep, definitely more burst, more answers to K2, more answers to Maoan if he decides to just go ahead and distortion forward to get that combo in. I just want to say, look at that, 704 on Raven. This is a very, very scary Syndra. Even having that additional safety in the form of that stopwatch and as well as that Banshees. And so low, but you know what? That Ocean is just really helping this out on their defense.
Yeah, the Ocean will assist them, at least trying to regen a little bit back up, but you can still see if they get below that threshold of the execute, instant deletion because of the buff. K2 getting some decent damage there onto Shensekai. As RSG playing the slow waiting game, it seems here, as bot lane will push up. Maoan has to deal with the super minions crashing in onto the base. Enzo, gotta be careful, he gets caught out. Oh no, that might be enough, and if they're able to take down the tank, that could be it. The execute will come on through, and Mexi finds his kill. Shensekai, though, going back over the wall. Maoan gets deleted by the shock blast, as well as the Elder buff combo. And Resurgence take 2 members down to Berjaya. but still have not been able to end this off.
That's 40 seconds on the clock for the rest of the members of Ozzy and Mawan. That's a teleport too, as Shinsekai makes his way back into the base.
Like you mentioned, 26 seconds on the LeBlanc, 20 on the Ornn. It's up to Berjaya to try and delay this. Can they actually? K2 putting down the chompers, gets caught out. Raven gets himself the quick execute, but no, Delulu is able to save him. Mexi, he can't finish him off, but K2 gets himself back underneath the tower. Resurgence, they may have done it, and they will open up their summer split with the first victory in week 1, taking down Berjaya Dragons.
I am so happy for RSG with this victory, and it's just such a good morale booster after, you know, coming from Spring Split where the Dragons have constantly defeated them. And now look at that sigh of relief in the player camps. They are incredibly relieved, and I'm happy for the Resurgence.
I'd be relieved too. I'd be a bit relieved myself there too. That was a close one to say the least. The fact they gave up 2 of those Dragons too off some of the dumbest steals you can possibly have. An Ornn ult, not even like the Ornn push through, it was like the Ornn ultimate coming back toward him. That's like only there for a slow, barely any damage. And then the Jinx rocket as well, but it doesn't matter because in the end, Resurgence are able to find their first victory, and that breaks their spring record that they went winless for the first 2.5 weeks.
Exactly, a 7-loss streak, and then now they look so much better. They look so much, you know, composed, and they move as a unit now, unlike, you know, at Spring where they had different plans in mind, where it's usually Shinsekai and Raven that are like sort of roaming together. But now it's like a full-on 5 team, and I am very happy to see this, you know, big improvement. And I'm looking forward to more of their performances, especially, you know, they lost against Nova today, but that didn't really hurt them. They were smiling coming into this Berjaya Dragons matchup.
Yeah, and you know, there's also like there's a fan Discord over for one of the other leagues, and Jensen came in. He said, "Oh, you know what? 0-18, the dream." Well, he even broke that promise, as now the team is able to find their first victory, and a lot of it coming off like the hands of Raven, who had a stellar Syndra game.
Yeah, such a stellar performance. Mawan could not do anything at all because I feel like Mawan is so afraid to distortion forward to get a combo because Raven always had eyes on him. And because of that, the impact of LeBlanc was not felt at all. And look at that, 7-0-7, a well-deserved Syndra MVP.
So there you go, MVP going on over to Raven, as both him and Shinsekai able to pick up the kills where they needed to. Luckily, they were able to rely on that Syndra rather than facing the possibility that, you know, that Jace was slowly starting to kind of fall behind, but luckily they were able to pull forward and, like I said, finding their first victory of summer after going on an 8-game lose streak when they started off Spring.
And not only that, the first ever victory of Kaisa for the PCS after going, I don't know, 100% lose lose percent for the Kaisa at Spring. I think it was picked 9 times by, you know, top 80 carries of the tournament, and they never made it work. But hello, Resurgence has done it. Mexi has done it.
Yeah, so with that, that's the upset for the Southeast Asia squad. We'll see whether or not a familiar face from Southeast Asia will be able to do the same in the form of Liab as they take on PSG. We'll be back after a short break.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.